of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And before I call for public comments, I just wanted Mrs. Paredes to make a brief announcement.
Good evening, board members. Before we formally begin this evening, I just wanted to take a moment to acknowledge and give you all the good news that I think this is the first time in my memory that this has happened this way, but both of our Board of Ed reps that are here this evening, Danielle Ricketts and Abia Khan, will be attending Yale University in the fall. Official acceptances, signs will be delivered, so I thought that was really outstanding that they're both of our reps here. It's really unusual for a school to get two Yale acceptances like that, and for it to be Abia and Danielle. I just thought that was kind of worth telling everyone. So thank you for entertaining me. Are you going to attend? Will you attend?
At this time, I would like to open the floor for public comment. If there anyone is here that would like to address the board. For a second time, if there's anyone from the public that would like to address the board. For a third and final time, if there's anyone from the public that would like to address the board. Seeing none, public portion is closed. I will move on to administration status of schools.
We have two presentations tonight. One is on that's going to go over the handout last week. But short presentation, which I thought was pretty cool. That's on.
Jen Cummings.
First selections for the following year, which they will be promoting over the like share with you. Good. So I'm going to turn it over to Jane Paula.
So Ms. Cummings, in her journalism classes, created these short videos for a number of different electives and all of our core areas. So we've chosen to share two with you tonight. But I did send the links. I believe Amanda shared them with the board about a week ago. So you do have all the links if you want to look at the different presentations. And here are two that we're going to highlight this evening. And again, these are completely student-run, student-produced, which I think makes it all the more impressive. I wish I could take credit, but I can't because it is all.
As we think about what classes to sign up for this year, consider these great electives. Our ability is to the study of the statistical concepts.
Maybe you can take a hang on, it's not.
is for collecting, graphing, analyzing, and drawing conclusions with data. As a part of this course, students will gather, analyze, and draw conclusions from real-world situations. The prerequisites for this course is Algebra 1 and 2 and Geometry. Probability and statistics can be taken at an AP level. Geometry for Careers in Construction is an alternative geometry course for students who are thinking of pursuing a career in construction, architecture, or manufacturing. This course meets the geometry requirement for graduation from West Haven High School. The Mathematical Practices and Forensics course is for students who have completed Algebra 1 and Geometry and are taking courses in forensics in the forensics cohort. Mathematical Practices and Forensics applies the mathematics studied in Algebra 2 to the analysis of the evidence related to crime in order to serve justice on behalf of the criminal justice system. This course fulfills the Algebra 2 requirement necessary for the upper level math courses offered here at West Haven High School. Gateway Community College Math is a dual enrollment course offering credit at both West Haven High School and Gateway Community College. If you have completed Algebra 1 Geometry, Algebra 2, but do not feel ready for pre-calculus and want to take a math course during your senior year, this is the course for you. Gateway Community College Math focuses both on beginning and intermediate algebra. It is a perfect course for those who plan to attend college and have to take the active placement test. Consumer math is for the student who would like to learn about everyday life situations as it applies to money. Students may explore topics like buying, owning, operating a car, using the credit card, budgeting, and saving money, and balancing a checkbook. SAT prep course is a half-year course designed as a preparation for the SATs taken at the end of junior year and the beginning of senior year. Students will review mathematical skills as well as test-taking strategies designed to improve SAT scores. If you are interested in any of these math electives, you can find more information about them from your math teacher, school counselor, or check out the program of studies.
Course selection time is coming up, and we want to make sure you know all about the electives the English department has to offer. Masterpiece is a great opportunity to experience some of the greatest works ever written, all while earning honors credit. Students have the chance to dig deeper into challenging works of literature that have shaped our lives as English speakers. Humanities is for students who want to challenge themselves, but may not want to take a AP English class senior year. The class includes the study of ancient and modern literature, philosophy, history, religion, and art. Fairy tales, myths, and legends examine the enduring allure of these genres. Primetime television and big screen have exploded with shows and movies centered around the magical Camping Festival. The question is, why? In this course, we examine historical and cultural reasons for their enduring popularity. Mystery and Suspense provides students with the opportunity to analyze and discuss a variety of contemporary young adult novels of mystery and suspense. Activities such as solving many mysteries, book club style discussions, and watching movie versions of select mysteries are part of this class. True crime is one part of the criminal justice cohort, which includes forensic investigations and crime and punishment. In true crime, students study famous murderers, unsolved cases, serial killers, and historical crimes. Students will write police reports, press conference statements, essays, and research projects. Young adult literature starts with the focus and process on writing a children's book. Students learn characterization, plot structure, and the narrative perspective to write their own children's stories. The course then explores popular writing literature, allowing students to engage with books that are relevant to their lives. Film as literature is a great class for anyone who loves watching and discussing movies. Students watch a range of critically acclaimed films and analyze the techniques that filmmakers use in the same way that we normally analyze literature. A flair for writing will challenge students to write a variety of styles, including personal essays, memoirs, creative films, documentaries, and important social issues of the day. Brave New Worlds gives students the chance to travel to the strange new inner and outer worlds and to read some of the best and most controversial literature in recent times. In communications, students look at a variety of media sources and how they've evolved. We address books, newspaper, music, radio, movies, and more. Students will write articles, personal responses, songs, and even presentations. The digital media and journalism class covers fundamentals of reporting, media ethics, and video production. Students who do well in the course will be invited to take advanced digital media and journalism. This class produces the school morning news and the monthly newsletter. Students have multiple ways of earning college credit through the English department. The first is through our two AP classes, AP Lit and AP Lit. Students can also take an early college experience course to earn 4 UConn credits. Remember these classes when you head to course selection. Feeling overwhelmed? Talk to your current English teacher, and they will help you figure out which English elective is best for you.
Great job. There's a couple classes that I want to take.
So as you can see, the name of the game is choice. Back when I was a student at West Haven High School in the 90s, freshmen took English 1, sophomores took English 2, and so on and so forth. So what we really try to do is look at what our student interests are and take our standards and align those standards with courses that meet those interests. So one of the things that we know our students have a great interest in is forensics and criminal justice. So we actually have a cohort that completely revolves around criminal justice, as many of you know. So they take true crime, they take crime and punishment, they take forensic, and now forensic math. So all of their core courses revolve around the criminal justice system. We have a partnership with UNH that actually allows them to earn 6 credits for taking that cohort while they're here, and then an additional 6 credits through classes on the UNH campus. We have really tried to give as much selection and choice to students as we can, because it's really important that students are engaged and interested in the coursework, especially coming back from the pandemic, where we've kind of seen some difficulties, not just here, but across the country, of getting students focused, getting students re-engaged. And I think being able to offer courses that they're interested in really has helped us with refocusing and re-engaging students. So that's kind of the name of the game, creating choice and really giving students an opportunity to be engaged and to take classes that focus on not only their interests, but in what they may want to do in the future. So that's what we try to do here with course selection. Any questions from the board?
Excellent job. Those presentations were very well done. Great job.
Thank you. Ms. Cummings and her team are amazing. They spend so much time outside of the classroom. Those kids are so dedicated to their craft and to that course. The amount of time they spend after school and at night activities, it's really incredible. So we're extremely appreciative of Ms. Cummings. She wanted to be here tonight, but unfortunately she's ill, so she could not be here. And her kids who are just incredible. Thank you.
Great. Thank you so much.
Bruce is also there.
And do our kids have to pay to take AP tests here?
The district of that farm. So their kids are holding lunch, the traditional English dinner, that's okay. We charge a $10 holding fee to ensure that they show up for the class, because if they don't, you have to pay that fee to return the tax. So there is that small holding fee. Any student who cannot pay that holding fee, students who are free lunch, they have to pay it all. But each test is
Okay.
Yeah, so in order to graduate, they have to meet the standards for Algebra 1, Algebra 2, and geometry. So the forensics math class actually meets the Algebra 2 standards, and the full finish estimate showing a lot of work. Really making those things align. In the past, our cohort classes had to take in conjunction with core classes to make sure that we fulfilled all those standards. And what we were able to do over the past couple of years, through the work of our coordinators, through the work of our teachers, we take our standards that are in our core classes and really align the classes in that cohort to those standards so that students are not having to double dip. So in the past, they don't have to take that forensic math in algebra 2, try to realize the forensic math class, using algebra 2 standards. We've done the same software. So now that private punishment class, which is an investigation class, we have taken these standards, which are going to be built in our active class, and that class now goes to the civic standards, with all the constitutional law, so that will have to be practical. Now we're taking away from the fancy band, of course, with other things like. So that's kind of that will have to be standards.
I think that is a huge point that needs to be stressed again, is that by meeting the standards in these classes that they're interested in, it frees up their schedule to allow them to take other electives that they are also interested in. Because I know in the past, I'm having my kids go through the high school, like, they would skip having a lunch, or they would go, skip having whatever, so they could fit in choir or band or art class. And I think that is hugely important, because not only are the core classes important for these kids, but I think engaging them in something that they like to come to school to do is also a step in keeping them in school until they graduate. So I just wanted to stress that point again, because it's so nice that they can take these classes or whatever, the fact that it meets a requirement so that they can also do something else, I think is huge. So
You really
kudos to your teachers for getting those aligned like that, because it's no small task.
This year is our first year for and you're actually the public next. So that's very class. The first lesson I saw in there this year was so interesting. They watched these short videos of construction fail and the last little things like that. And then the teacher handed out, I'm sure she did that with the mathematical equations that were used to build the structure, and the kids had to figure out where the error was in the math that caused the construction fail. So it was such an interesting lesson to watch. Normally math classes are not my favorite to observe, I'll be honest, but I was like, I think I stayed told to stay 15 minutes for what I was there the whole time. And they're actually now working at building this model house, which in this year, which is a model to do for that shop. And so I originally built plywood and then plywood. So it's actually at home with each section. They're going to come to that sheet and show you their home. So it's really interesting. Great way for kids who are going to the trade for maybe not to do that college, maybe not standards. So really very interactive way, so that it's all hands-on. They're seeing, kids always say, why do I need it? They're seeing why they need it. They're seeing what it's actually used for. So it's really a great way to show.
I definitely think that practical application of, listen, I say the same thing all the time. It's so much fun. I have to learn that. I could have looked it up. But the practical application of these math equations that you use in your everyday life that you don't even realize that you're doing is so important for them to learn, and maybe it will focus them, especially for those kids that maybe wanted to go into a trade thinking, I don't really need to know that, or I don't need to know that, but you really need to be like super great at that in order for those things to work out. So
Right, and I think that's how the teacher started with watching buildings collapse, because the math classes in the back there.
Or the Mars rover, they want people to put in English measurements, people to put in metrics, the rover plot trash.
I get a question. Sorry, you made me stand for that.
That's like, but just said no question.
Maybe you're carrying.
Okay, so let me go over the information that I handed out last meeting about the American Recovery from an Instant Grant. I will touch on a bunch of the questions that were asked over the weekend, but we thought to give a meaningful, comprehensive answers to all questions that we're going to put together a report for the entire report. And we'll email it out to you guys over the next couple of days, just so we can get a better understanding of all the questions. But I will touch on a bunch of them today. So the first page is the history log of the grant. What this shows is that the grant, the application of the grant was sent out by the State Department of Education in May of 2020. The grant was due in 2021, sorry. The grant was due in August of 2021. And this grant was extremely unique that normally when we have a grant, the state turns over and approves it within a few weeks. Whether it was due to the pandemic, lack of staffing, the variants that popped up, this grant was not approved until March. So we knew the money was coming, that was coming to us, but until March 2nd, we were not able to draw down any funds or really apply any costs to this grant. You can see that there were some edits that the state sent back to us to make to our application. These were simply cosmetic corrections to the grants where assigning it to different category of use or just fixing a couple issues. There was never any problems with anything that we set out to say that we were going to spend or anything of that nature. The next page again is just the timeline of the grant. We had to have a safe return to school policy by June 23rd, 2021. Again, the grant was due on August 16th, 2021, and we have the ability to spend these funds until September 30th of 2024. Part of this grant, part of getting our grant approved, we had to engage in what they call meaningful consultation with stakeholders, yourselves, the teachers, the people of this town. We conducted surveys. We had obviously board-fed meetings. We had a meeting at the time of August in the auditorium where everybody came to give their thoughts of returning to school, what they think we would need to provide for a safe return to school. And then I think about the 16th of August, we had a public session. People were allowed to come and comment and describe what they thought we should use the grant for and their thoughts on coming back to school. Next are the approved uses of the fund. There are quite a few. What we concentrated on was the addressing learning loss. We did so in a myriad of ways, and I'll get to that when we go over the budget. We also used the addressing unique needs of special populations, education technology, facility repair and improvements, and the improvement of air quality. The allocation of this grant is $19,476,456. I know there was something on the State Department of Education that said our allotment was less, but this page is directly from the application, and that is the amount of money that we're able to spend if we're able to draw out the state of benefit. And then going over the expenditures to date. So we have about $4.5 million in salaries. These are for teacher salaries and for our outreach team for over the course of the grant. The classroom teacher salaries are under the tag. The correct use of funds is the Addressing Learning Loss Fund. By hiring these additional teachers, we're able to do small group instruction, which I'm not an educator, but I believe that's what we thought would be the best use of these funds to get the children back up to where they should be after the pandemic. In any grant, when you apply salaries to the grant, you are also allowed to pay for their health benefits. So that is why this is an allowable expense of the grant. We will purchase several instructional software programs over the next 3 years. There's a list of the ones that are coming with the grant. These have been invaluable to our district over the course of the pandemic, and they're still being used within the classrooms. Also, because the outreach team is a newer team, we're getting them some professional development to try to define their roles and help them throughout this process and dealing with some of our needy students. Next, the repairs, improvements to our school facilities. These haven't really started yet. The only ones that have started are the modular classroom, which you guys have had a tour of. And some of the outdoor courts that you can see when you drive in, and also some architectural studies and designs for some of the other projects. And then the repairs to the mechanical systems. So when we have a grant, we use these grants to supplement what we do with our local budget. So you see that we've only spent $200,000 to date. That does not mean that we've only spent $200,000 on air quality and HVAC repairs and controls. Most of that money comes out of our local budget, our operations budget. What this does is it supplements that and allows us to do some other plans. I believe controls on all get the controls by one system through all our schools. Some things that we wouldn't be able to do if this money was not available. Security services. When the pandemic hit, we added an additional security guard at all our elementary schools to ensure that arrival and dismissal that both those times were orderly, that we were able to social distance. By acquiring these funds, we will be able to keep that for the duration of this grant. Providing our schools additional supply money. I didn't know when you look at our budget. So unfortunately, the instructional support line items are only really discretionary income. And when the budget year after year is not being increased, it is difficult to increase that category because everything else is contractual. So with this grant, we're able to do so over the next 3 years and get the supplies that are over and above what our teachers and principals need. Continuation of these additional summer programs. So again, this $100,000 is not going to pay for all the programs that we are offering. This is supplementing the previous COVID grants that we have. The ESSER 2 funds, we budgeted $500,000 to offer these programs. We're offering them again this summer. Last summer, we went in with the city to offer every kid in the town access to free the day program at Park Rec. That offer is still on the table. So this year. And then the property, we outfitted every classroom with Promethean boards and laptops for all the staff. Before this grant, the elementary teachers, and I believe Kerrigan as well, still had desktops in their classrooms. So now the desktops are going away, and every teacher will have a laptop, which will help them utilize Promethean. So, if there's any questions? We did on that. But we'll refurbish them. We'll get the best use out of them that we can. And then once they go past their useful life, we'll recycle them.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry, Matt's any questions? I have my question.
I have a few questions.
Sure.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
So you had said when you were going over the teacher salaries, that we hired more teachers.
to cover this portion of the grant, and then that's to extend for the next 3 years. But I thought when we talked about the city budget, we said that some of the teacher salaries were actually shifted to this grant. Is it 2 different grants that we're talking about, or?
So we have a bunch of grants that cover our teacher salaries. We have the Alliance grant, we have ESSER 2, and we have this grant. Once we received this grant, we were able to hire 50 more teachers to allow for the small group instruction that I talked about earlier. We did shift some salaries to the Alliance grant, to the ESSER 2 grant, but this particular grant is going to pay for those new hires.
They're from a grant, and then after 3 years, they
Well, our plan is to,
Once they become a teacher in a school district, they're subject, they become members of the union and support. So, first man, last man.
but we feel pretty confidently that through attrition, we will be able to keep all these teachers employed. For example, at the end of last school year, at the beginning of this school year, we had 22 teachers either retire or resign. So if that trend continues, that through attrition, we'll be able to maintain these individuals. Yes and no. I mean, I don't think that number is anything out of the ordinary that we've seen in prior years. I think there's a few issues in play. I mean, if you leave the district to go to a different job, yeah, that's not really going to be affected by COVID. I think the teacher's contract is up in the next couple of years. We typically see teachers who are eligible to retire kind of around that time. So no, I think historically we've been in that 15 to 22 individuals leaving our district year after year. So I think we will be in good shape.
With all of that and kind of feedback enough again, I mean, even if half of those teachers we lost through attrition, that still creates $2.8 million, almost $2.9 million in a fiscal cliff that we're going to be facing in 2020. If don't lose those teachers, keep the 15, that's almost $5.9 million.
Sure. So the Alliance grant has increased on average about $1.3, $1.4 million year after year. So we'll have that till 2024. That's two of those increases, and eventually the city is going to have to make a commitment to the education system. We will not be able to maintain our staffing or our services if the budget is continued to be flatlined. I think the superintendent has said that every time we've addressed the budget, that yes, this money is great and it's helped us do a lot of things, but eventually, without an investment from the city to the educational system, there's going to be an issue. If you look at our budgets when we did the budget presentation, the last time our budget increased was fiscal year 16-17, and it only increased $300,000. So, while we do think we will be able to keep these individuals employed through attrition, that's not. I mean, individuals are going to get raises. Prices are continuing to go up for things. We're going to continue to have to outplace us special education students. So, without our budget going up, it's going to be very difficult, quite frankly, in the next few years. Once this money is all gone. The last time I believe we laid teachers off was when we closed the 2 schools, but I believe the majority of those teachers were called back and were not permanently laid off. Malloy and Thompson.
I worked with Nick for 46 years. Like most people in markets, it's 35. Not everybody works 35 places. So this is kind of. You know, when they get to their grades, they're gone. You'll have that now. I mean, I can't guarantee, but that's.
There is,
You know, getting them back up to being ready for the next.
Right, my point is that.
No, I understand.
That the people retired. I think it's amazing. I didn't know that we had hired on more staff. I think that that's.
Oh, yeah, definitely, but I just think, to be able to use these funds the way they were able to be used and to do the best job of servicing our students and addressing learning loss, I think we did the right thing by hiring these teachers, because they're our best assets.
To your point, Matt, with smaller group instruction, I mean, I'm no longer an educator, but when I was working in the classrooms as a paraprofessional, I think it's imperative that our students have that small group instruction, being able to bring back SRBI, being able to bring back our stations, and our, our resource teachers that are pulling, they're imperative to the growth of our students. And I think that's, to me, that's a good use of funds to be able to say, look at what we did, look at all these kids that we brought back, and we did it successfully, and they're continuing to be successful academically.
I have one question. Maybe you're gonna put this in the updated report that you're gonna give us. So just if you are, the line items for the repairs to the pool and the modular classroom that is there a reason that they're not already in the year-to-date expended? They've already been built.
Yeah, I grouped that, so if you look at the year-to-date budget, I put that all in one total of the $800,000. That's what we spent on what we've done so far, but I could definitely break that up for you project by project.
And then with the, it says outfit every classroom with a communication board, which I know has been a huge benefit to our staff and our students. It says year to date, we already spent $2 million. I know you said this grant was just approved March 2nd. So did we spend that money in advance knowing it was coming? Is that how we did that? Or did we just pay the bill this last month?
Yeah, we just paid the bill last month, but we did make the order knowing that we did have this grant and that it was definitely an allowable use, but the money was not drawn down. So until the State Department of Education puts their final stamp of approval on it, I am not allowed to draw down funds. How we get these grants is monthly. I have to determine what I think we will be spending for the next month. And then I go log into the site and I actually complete a report for every grant that we have, requesting a certain amount of money that I think will be spent in the prior month. So until this was approved, we were not able to pay any of the bills, and we were upfront with our vendor, and everybody knew about it. But they thought with what's going on in the supply chain issue, the vendor that we use all the time, they knew we have a very good relationship, so they were okay with making this order, knowing that they would have to wait until the grant was approved. We did. Well, the installation wasn't complete until, I believe, late January or early February. We did put the order in May when we knew knew that we were going to be facing these issues, that every district in the country was getting the same not amount of money, but they were able to have this grant. So we knew things would be in great demand. So we acted quickly.
Was that in partnership with BAN or that?
Yes.
Payment?
Yeah. So there are IT groups. So they consult us on our purchases. We didn't buy that from them. We bought it through a company called CDW. But we have relationships with them through Vanguard.
The reason I was kind of asking, because they had talked about some of the grant money, like the E-rate grants, and it just seems like we've got a lot of technology money. Are they helping and they?
Oh, absolutely. We myself and the superintendent are in constant communication with them. They give us a plan every single year on what they think should be replaced, what we can afford to replace. And they work with me directly through the E-rate process every year.
So was the E-rate grant was about 2.4 million, and that was just for laptops for the students, but then.
Oh, so that was two different grants. The grant that you're speaking of, the 2.4 million, that was a grant that E-rate came up with for a one time due to the pandemic. It's called the Emergency Connectivity Fund. Where they 100% funded any device for students or staff that we would allow them to take home, up to $400. So what we did was we refreshed all of our Chromebooks. So it was about 6,000 Chromebooks for all of our students, and then we bought the laptops for our staff. But what you see in this grant is the money that we owe over the $400 rebate, so to speak. And like I said, anything that we didn't address that were the questions that we'll be sending us with.
I also appreciate you taking all my phone calls about all these things as well.
No problem at all.
Thank you. Absolutely. Did you have anything else?
Just a question for the superintendent of the finance chair. There was a request for qualifications for architectural services. Let's take it in public schools. It's not something really let's take in public schools. I was curious to find out more about it. And obviously, if there's a cost to it, where will it show by that budget? We never discussed that before. So do this to the superintendent. Get back to us.
Moving on to student representatives. First of all, did we win? Yeah. Two Yaleys and a win today. All right.
All right, we would like to start off by congratulating and acknowledging all the Westies who got into selected colleges this year. Our seniors got into schools such as Yale, Duke, UPenn, Cornell, Northeastern, Boston University, and NYU, just to name a few. Awesome. The EMT program has begun on Friday and has been giving good reviews so far. We also had a Take Down Tobacco initiative happen in Lobby last Friday. It was sponsored by Westfield High School PTSA and was funded by a grant from the National PTA and a campaign for tobacco-free kids. The band had a very successful spring concert last Thursday as well. And just as a reminder, the peer advocates are still having their fundraiser where you can pay for the sweet eggs in your lawn for Easter.
Okay, good evening. So just to continue the announcements, the SABD will be having their mock car crash to raise awareness for drunk driving on April 19th. The cheerleading team is conducting an initiative called the Drip Project, where seniors who would like to go to prom but don't have the funds can shop for a dress shop for dresses that were donated by a boutique. They can get jewelry there, they can get their hairstyle, and for males, they can shop for a tux and get a free haircut. And they're also giving away free prom tickets for those who need it. So, and the sign up is anonymous, so there's no shame or stigma associated with it. And I just think that's an amazing initiative that they're submitting.
They have a hot tip that council last week, they just got a delivery of 10 brand new dresses.
Oh, really? That's amazing. So the National Honor Society is raising money for the West Haven Animal Shelter through a movie being shown in the auditorium this Wednesday, I believe, the 6th. Yeah, tickets will be $2, and they're going to be showing a movie called Turning Red. It's a new cartoon from Disney. So the graduation will be on June 14th with a rain date of the 15th. Tomorrow there'll be a meeting in the auditorium at 9 a.m. for students admitted to UConn. And lastly, I'd just like to, on behalf of all the students who use this food pantry, I've been getting really good reviews. People have been really thankful for the food there because some people there really need it. So we're just really thankful for what you guys have been doing with the pantry. And some students feel like they'll probably need even more support from the pantry just because of the food insecurity at home. No problem.
Great job, ladies. Or maybe reports, I'll start. Next time you done last time?
No, you tried.
All right. I'm gonna start with you this time. I don't know, I'm right handed, so I like tend to lean for the, except for pop.
I don't know.
You're good. And.
I just wanted to play. I think Brandon said that last time. I was playing a great job. It's amazing. I love people. And this band concert, I'm sorry, something else. And for people who have nothing to do on Sunday, or my granddaughter, my grandson will be in the Wesley pageant. So I don't think I miss that. That's an opportunity of a lifetime.
I happen to be a celebrity judge, so.
Well, my grandchildren, yes.
I'm impartial.
I will say that. But I'm excited for that because I'm glad that I think it's a great opportunity to celebrate and have a fun time. So thank you, Dana, and all your little pageanters that help me.
Yeah, I don't do anything at all anymore. The kids do it. I just show up.
Train them well, train them well.
That's the best way to run a program, when you train people to do all the. and then you're
I used to put a lot of work into that, but the kids do it now.
But anyway, that's it. So,
And on behalf of the board, I'd like to wish you a very happy birthday.
thank you. Libra. One day.
I also went to the play. I was at a lacrosse scrimmage for the girls, and I was at the tobacco awareness afternoon, and I thought that it was really great. We're thankful to the PTSA that they were able to secure that grant from National PTA. It was a fun day.
I want to thank Chris Everone for returning my promptly and answering all the questions I had for you. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. And also in helping out Bridget, Husky, at the boutique, and that's really great. It's donating. It's very nice.
Ray and I both cried about the news story that you saw.
We did.
Channel like.
Excellent.
On that, I think we should commend our airport council lady, Bridget, for taking such a kindness towards our indigent seniors. Really, also like to say that the congratulations in order for the Neil and your sisters superintendent, and also Dana and our team of teachers or teacher that are responsible for producing these fine ambassadors of us system. You know, so much getting to be a routine. The last time was the Bill O'Brien Award. You know, someone like every time we raise them in school, number one. You know, that is fantastic. Look at that, 2 items and more, right? More. Yeah. But I hope the public actually knows about this, you know. Like,
Definitely make sure Mac gets
Yeah,
that.
I don't like to put it on the Yale.
the only, yeah, the other item, and, you know, that's really great. That's really great. I'm so proud of you. Thank you so much.
I too had the opportunity to attend your equipment and shot that. It was nice to see you back. Interesting. Travel was good, just seemed to be the lost in the sign. That's. I look forward to see what the rest of the high school theater workshop is built on and go back to the future.
It was, I also went to the play because I try not to miss any of them. They always do, the kids are super talented, they always do such a great job. I wish the public was more responsive to coming to see the show. I don't have any kids in theater workshop, and I have not been on the board of ed longer than I've been on the board of ed, but we always went to see the shows. They're thoroughly entertaining. It's not, you know, you think that you're gonna go sit through something, I don't mean to disparage dance, because I was a dancer, but sit through someone's dance recital and you're kind of like, oh. You know, but these are really entertaining shows that are quality productions, the costume, the lighting, the stage production is fabulous. And I saw a bunch of new kids working the sound and light board, taking over for our illustrious former tech team. So that was really nice to see, and hopefully we'll be able to incorporate a lot of that into classes and electives in the future. I do know that the woodshop class had a big part in those great stage sets and props. So that was a really good thing to see. I was really glad to hear everybody congratulate Bridget on such a great project. Many people can identify a problem and point it out to you, but it takes a very special person to identify a problem and find a solution and implement the solution and then tell you about it. And I have known Bridget for a very long time, and that's the kind of person that she is. She's also been inquiring about the food pantry as well. So just so you know, the success of the DRIP project is probably going to also affect the food pantry success in the future. I thank you so much for being such a friend to the community and the students at in West State Public Schools. So. I know, right? I'm very proud of you. I'm proud of you. Next on the agenda is D1 approval of minutes. I will entertain a motion to approve the minutes from the March 21st, 2022 regular board of ed meeting.
Motion.
Second, any discussion? Being none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Andrea is abstaining, Ann is abstaining, Pat is abstaining. Make sure everybody gets that. D2 resignations, I will entertain a motion to do these all inclusive, 22-08, 22-09, and 22-10. Motion. Andrea, second. Kim? Oh, Pat, any discussion? I second that. I have not worked with them, but I see their combined almost 100 years of teaching for the West Haven Public School System. That is certainly an accomplishment and will certainly leave shoes that will be tough to fill. So I thank them, all three of them, for their years of probably should vote on it, even though they're gonna retire, even if we don't know. All in favor? Any opposed? Any abstentions? All right, so that motion passes, we're allowed to retire. Thank you, guys. Yes.